Women of Reddit, what's the most disgusting thing you've discovered about your boyfriend after being together for years? Not mine, but my sister's ex. He used to poop in the shower and just stomp it down the drain with his foot. He told us this like it was completely normal and only started getting cagey about it when we expressed shock and horror. Giving him the benefit of the doubt, my sister asked him when he stopped doing this. Surely it was just a thing he did as a little kid, right? My ex would always take a shower after shitting. He would apparently then also deeply wipe his ass with a rag or towel and then hang that towel back up. Towels that were clean enough to use again got hung up, gross ones went on the floor. I found out because we were at a hotel and I went to dry my face and there were streaks on the white towel. I was drying my face with ass crack, wiping towels. For years. The towels at home were dark red, so I never saw anything. I'm also not proud of this, but my abusive ex would get so drunk he peed the bed. I would have to get up and scrub and dry pee from a mattress from a 23-year-old drunken man baby who was so knocked out I couldn't wake him to make him do it. I was working 3 jobs because he had been in a slight fender bender that he used to get out of the military and having to work. He was fine, he just didn't want to work. He wanted to play video games and drink. I also found out while we were together that he and a group of his friends had been charged with gang rape, but were released due to the video evidence potentially showing she consented. I believe her. Also about the time I found out that he had been involved in an armed robbery. He SA me the first time we were together. I was also 16 at the time and he was 22, and I stayed with him. He got into fist fights with anyone who would look at me, including his best friend. At the time, I thought at least he cares. He would pin me down and put his mouth over my nose and mouth and blow hard while I couldn't breathe and would cry and try to get away, and then he'd eventually stop and laugh and tell me how dramatic I was. Ultimately, he put me in the hospital and he went to jail for abuse, which they barely held him for. I was being put in the ambulance and he was crying while like 3 cops were trying to arrest him. After that, my parents came from out of state and got me, and I got out of it, and I've not been in an abusive relationship since. Back then, I had a weird phase on Tinder where I met my ex. We met up with his best friend some months into the relationship. Everything was good until his best friend said either you show her or I'll do. The walk home, I thought about everything that he could mean. Since he was on parole, I thought it was drugs. I prepared for the things I thought would be the worst. He brought up what his friend said and lifted up the mattress so I could see what he stores in his bed box. He stored fucking piss. In multiple bottles. Big bottles. Tiny bottles. Piss in every color. Bottles in every form or shape. I stood by the door, speechless. I was confronted with the great piss. He cleaned the cat litter with his bare hands and then cooked dinner without washing them. I refused to eat and demanded he wash his hands after fondling cat turds from that point forward. He was outraged. People are always like, what sort of loser was this guy? A chaired professor. After a few months dating, ex-boyfriend started farting 24/7 in front of me as a fun joke. Farted while I was eating, farted while we hugged. One time he farted so much while I was having dinner, he had to go fart in the balcony. Also, his feet smelled so bad, he stenched his own sofa, and it had a permanent feet smell. Girls, you never know who you are dating until you see how they live. It's a little bit different because it was a date situation that happened to a close friend of mine and not a long-term relationship, but still crazy to me. A friend dated a guy from Tinder at the time. They went to a restaurant, then took a walk in a park nearby his house when she started to feel sick, needing to urgently go to the toilets. They went to his house, but got there a little bit too late. She was mortified, but he was very comforting and told her that these things happen, that there's no need to make a big deal about it, and offered her to take a shower, which she did. When she came out of the shower, he was smelling her stained panties. She was super shocked and left right away. Because this kind of incident never happened to her before and never happened again after, and because it was so sudden right after the meal and because of the smelling thing, she is convinced to this day that he put a laxative in her drink or in her food. She told us the story the next day, and we often think and talk about it when people talk about dating app. We were together for years and living in our own places, but it wasn't until we officially moved in together that I learned he was functionally incapable of using the bathroom without pissing on the floor each and every time. When he stayed over at my place before we moved in together, he was fine, and I never had any issues with his bathroom habits. No stains or smells that hinted this grown-ass man wasn't potty trained. But after he moved in, he just started aiming purely on vibes. Every single time he'd take a leak, I'd find piss on the floor. He didn't even have enough shame to try to clean it up. If I didn't clean it up, he just let it dry and wreck the floor, which it did. He pissed on the floor around the toilet so much that I had to have the flooring replaced. My mother's 3-month-old Chihuahua puppy was more housebroken than he was. My only regret was staying with him as long as I did before I saw the writing on the wall, or the piss in the snow, as it were. I cannot be convinced that it was unintentional or a product of him getting too comfortable and lazy to care anymore, although I'm mystified over why he decided to start sabotaging our relationship pretty much immediately after we moved in together. I figured he'd at least slow play that kind of shit, or piss rather, so it wasn't so blatantly obvious.